It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, I'm back here at Dot Security, and I got a couple new executives I want to talk to. And these folks head up the managed marketing, Impact Networking's marketing company. And I wanted y'all to realize something really quick when I talk about marketing company. It's to market marketing to outside companies. So it's not just marketing for Impact Networking. That is a differentiator because I think all of our friends have marketing divisions within their company. This is a deliverable that they deliver into the marketplace. And sitting here with me today is LK and Robert. And folks, let's talk about marketing. And before we get started, I'll start with you, LK. Can you share a little bit about your tenure at Impact, like when you started, and then up to today, and then I'll ask you, Rob, the same thing when LK's done.
So I actually started here back in 2017. It's actually nearly going to be 8 years on the 17th, so that's really exciting. And I actually started in the marketing services department as an entry-level art director. So came from art school, entered into that capacity, and then kind of shifted throughout the creative department into strategy, into the new business side, doing the assessments, leading that team eventually when we developed it as kind of a separate team and developing what that was today, and then now getting to lead the service side of the marketing team. So very exciting journey that I've been able to have.
Are you still excited, as passionate as you were when you started?
Of course. Every day is a challenge that's new, and I'm so grateful to be able to do this with Rob at this point.
Good. Rob, tell us a little bit about you.
I've been here for 25 years now. So I started back with Frank when there was 8 of us and started off as a copier guy. So got my teeth and everything in that world. Moved into national accounts and did that for the company. Built myself up into management role. Ran the major account team for a little bit for there. Moved into a regional sales manager. Built that up. Then became a general manager and then started doing this beginning of the year with LK.
Well, marketing within a technology services company has always been a little bit strange for people to kind of comprehend. But, at the end of the day, if you can deliver marketing the way we deliver services and you can get customers to agree to these contracts and you can help the customer achieve what they need to achieve, you got to have marketing. It doesn't matter if the technology side sells the company all their technology if they can't get people to buy their products. So tell us a little bit, and I'll throw it over to you, Robert, a little bit about just the evolution of the marketing business. I mean, you just came in here about a year ago, but it started, when did you all start with the marketing business? And then how has it evolved over these last few years?
We started back in 2008. So with, going back to how do we market the company and everything, and the organization that we had worked with all the years from when Frank first started the organization, we had acquired them in 2008. So we were doing so much of the business, doing so much marketing with them, it was easier just to acquire them and bring them on. And we were always getting clients going, you're doing so well. We see your name all over the place. You're at all the different sporting events. How can you help us? So in traditional, Frank fashion, he looks at it and sees things that most people don't see and started evolving where how do we sell that? So when we first started, similar to the IT space, we were project-based. We were doing a website here and there. We would do an ad campaign and different things. And it's evolved just the way we've done with the IT space, where we've mimicked some of the same things in through there, where we're doing the full assessment as we're going through there. We're really diving into what the true business needs are for the organization and then applying all of the creative and everything to do it to tell the right story.
When the fee-based assessment, and of course, that's one of my pet peeves. I mean, we should be selling our intellect, not giving it away, especially if we're bringing value to the end users that we're trying to help and support. So in the fee-based assessment in marketing, that is really probably pretty unique, I would think.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's throw it over to you, LK. I know you've been in the marketing department for a long time. So when you started selling these fee-based assessments, kind of what was the average range of that? And where are you at today?
That's a great question. So we started around 5K. It was kind of in that space, anywhere from 1 to 5K, and it was more of a research report. That was the approach that we took. And it's really evolved over the years. And today we're selling assessments. Today, I think our highest paid assessment was maybe 55K, and we've got some in the books now ranging up to the kind of 100K space. So it really depends on the needs of the client. And it's because this assessment is actually taking our process and our approach of diagnosing the problem, doing that research, primary and secondary, building out the strategy and the plan before we execute. And so it's a very heavy, robust process that actually takes anywhere from 7 to 9 plus weeks. And so we're doing the real work, and that's why it requires an investment to be able to make sure that plan is really tailored to what the needs of the client are.
And it's actually a deliverable. They're buying an assessment. So how many of these assessments that you sell where the people say, okay, well, we appreciate this, but we're just not ready to come with you?
That's a great question. I think that we've initially found that has been a bit of a challenge, and that's really because we've not, over the years, really identified that really aligning with the key right business individuals in the business, whether that's the CEO, the CFO, the people that have the vision, who have the big ideas and are driving the direction. We've not necessarily had the right alignment with those individuals. And a lot of the great work that Rob has introduced at the beginning of this year with building out business cases has really shifted that, and we're getting a lot more alignment, and that's really been helping.
Rob, let's talk about the manpower at Impact Marketing. You know, what kind of manpower do you have right now?
As we look through it on the sales side of it, there's myself and 4 or 5 consultants that are building it out. LK's got a team. We're up there around about 40, 45 people and growing. We just added 2 more yesterday and hopefully another tomorrow.
Great.
We won't tell Jeff about that yet.
As long as it's profitable. I just interviewed him a
exactly.
little while ago.
Yeah. He tends to care about profit.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people think profit's a bad thing. But if I'm a customer, I don't care what I'm buying. I want to make sure I'm buying it from someone that's profitable.
Sure.
Because the last thing I want to do is do something with someone that's not profitable. We all know the ramifications of that. You know, when I was talking with some of the other executives, yesterday I talked with Frank DeGeorge and Mike Lepper, and we're seeing a little bit, and it's not just at Impact Networking, but based on geopolitics, the economy and everything, we're seeing a lot of people that are kind of like, let me wait, kind of a thing. Are you seeing that in the marketing space as well? Are people like, I'm not ready, you know, maybe 6 months from now we'll start marketing?
Yes, I definitely. And I think the tariffs were a big kind of shift that came out that was a bit of a fear situation for a lot of business owners. But again, Rob and his team put together a really great strategy to be able to navigate those conversations and make sure we were setting the team up to be able to have those conversations and provide real great rationale as to why it is important to market during these times. And that's ultimately what gets us ahead. I think a great example of that is when we invested in some of that sports marketing that we did back in 2008. It was a challenging time for everybody, and it really paid off for us in the long run. And that was, again, one of Frank's visions that he saw. So I think it's about just finding the individuals who see through what an investment in marketing can do. And those are the clients we're really looking to bring on board.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, marketing is something you have to have, just like technology. And a lot of times it ends up going way down here on the budget rail or whatever it is.
And just to add on to that too, when you get your competition that they're scared and they're fearful and they want to wait, and you can embrace that and go after that, that's a great way to start marketing.
Absolutely.
Gobbling up market share. You know, use the old Warren Buffett quote is be fearful when people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful.
Yeah, but you're right about that. Have you guys had any campaigns around the tariffs for some of the customers? Like how to help us navigate these tariffs? I mean, I see car commercials out there, you know, come buy from us. There's no tariffs, we're made in America or whatever it is.
We've done some of that internally. A lot of it is just having talk tracks, and to LP's point, is really aligning with what the goals are of that business and how you're trying to achieve those. Because at the end of the day, the tariffs are still going to be there. We don't know what they are. The one thing that I've told every client is the only thing we know is that uncertainty's out there. So to wait and pause, you're just letting things go by. So you're going to have to react. You're going to have to do something. That doesn't mean you have to go all in, but you should always continue to keep doing things even in spite of that.
You know, in the IT space, cybersecurity space probably too, when you do these larger contracts with these SMBs, you become very integral into their business processes from a decision-making standpoint. I mean, a lot of MSPs will actually sit on boards of some companies, if you will. Do you guys find yourselves in that same boat? Like, do you have a seat at the table with the executives just on their business challenges that could be based on economics or geopolitics? It's not really a marketing issue, or they...
Yeah, and that's what a lot of those changes we've been doing now is truly aligning with that. So if you look at one of the evolution of where we're at, a lot of it was before is you've got, you know, clients that are doing things where we're trying to do the tactics and we're doing all of the, you know, the promotion side of the 4 Ps. And now what we've really done is started aligning with the business owners, what they're trying to achieve, and then sitting down with the, you know, the Frank Cucos, the Mike Leppers of the world of where do we want to be in 5 years? How do we go there and write that roadmap out there and be able to help them navigate the challenges and the pitfalls that are going to go through there, because they're out there for everybody.
If you go to an account, you know, we've got some good salespeople at Impact Network, and there's no doubt about it. So you get an appointment, and do you ever deal with anybody in the organization that's not the CEO, or do you just insist that you have to deal with the CEO? I mean, how do you deal with that?
That's a great question. We we talk about it as above the line stakeholders and below the line. And those below the line stakeholders are really important to be able to have that buy-in, because especially when we're talking to marketing directors, we want to make sure that they feel like we're going to be able to support them. It's not that we're going to come in and threaten their jobs. It's that we're really there to be able to help them advocate to their CEO, to their CFO for marketing and the value it can bring to driving towards those business goals, whether that's revenue growth, whether that's increase in market share, whatever that looks like. And so we give them the tools to be able to have those conversations and be respected by their C-suite. And that's kind of how we're positioning it. So it is very much important to have both of those different individuals involved.
Do you ever get pushback from the marketing? So let's say you had an opportunity to meet with a CEO.
Yep.
And you're in the C-suite, and they're like, holy crap, we need to be paying attention to these people. And then next meeting, you're in with the VP of marketing, and the VP of marketing is like completely threatened by it. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, it has. And I think that that's where we have to have those conversations and make sure that we're showing them that it isn't about creating any of a threat. It's about supporting them in their initiatives. And, unfortunately, sometimes that means that the C-suite does make hard decisions. But that's really not our goal. Our goal is to be able to have those people as allies that we can work together with to drive towards those business goals, because they know their marketing more than we do. So they're a really great resource to have.
Is there any home run stories? I mean, I think last time we talked about the pizza place.
Yes.
Are they still going strong, the
They
pizza
are
place?
still going strong, and we have goals for world domination.
I see them popping up in my Facebook feed all the time. Is there any other stories out there that are successful?
I mean, I think we have a few. We have many, and I think one of the ones that I always go back to is one of our clients they sell flow testing equipment, and they are really exciting in that space. They actually had a goal when they first started working with us over 5 years ago to be able to eventually sell their business and kind of be acquired, and that was something that was able to be possible due to our partnership, and we're collaborating with that new business and really looking for more opportunities to help them with their other businesses that they're acquiring, because they're looking for kind of rapid expansion as well. So it's just about, seeing those wins, seeing when it actually works, and being able to help. We heard from their leadership the other day, you've done a fantastic job of really being able to differentiate this brand in the space. You've got great brand awareness, and that's something that they're looking to really get from their other business units as well. So I'd say that's a really great win.
Awesome. I don't know if you can answer this. It might be okay, but if you have an account that you meet with and you realize, okay, everything they're doing is completely absurd, and you got to tell them this.
Yeah.
So, how do you go about that? And has that ever caused you any kind of impact?
That's a great question.
Not to pardon the pun, by the way.
I think we could probably answer it from different capacity. You from the front end of setting that stage up at the beginning, and then I can talk about the back end of when that's happened later on.
Yeah, a lot of it, as you're going through that process, it's about asking the right questions. So if we come in and just say everything you're doing is garbage, and you're not,
that wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah. But a lot of it is just asking the thought-provoking questions and getting deeper into how you're going to, and trying to get them to see the light that it's not, what they're doing is not working. And people don't like change. They use that analogy way of thinking, and they just want to just make it a little bit better, a little bit of a tweak, instead of really breaking it down to what's the root cause of the problem we're trying to do, and then build our way back up. So we've had a lot of those conversations. Some have been fruitful and turned into things. Timing's just not right.
Well, I can imagine. A lot of times, you talk about the light bulb going off. I would imagine, because, I've been around Impact for a long time, and I've been around the marketing people for a long time. And when you bring your teams into these accounts, you're obviously going to project something pretty remarkable, I think, personally. And so when you get into those environments, have you ever had it where they're just so wow?
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe they want you to jump in and do stuff before the assessment. Like we see sometimes in IT, and you're like, hang on a second, it's a good thing, but we got to go through the rest of this.
100%. And I think that's all goes back to education. And it was something that I was kind of going to build upon what you were saying, Rob, is it's about when we provide them with the rationale of, you have to do the research first. If you're going into a situation without knowing what your audience cares about, knowing what your competitors are doing and how you can differentiate and really resonate with that target audience, we're just making things, we're just guessing, and that's not going to be a good investment. And so once we educate them on that, they're like, wow, thank you for saying that to me. We had that situation with a client, a prospect we were meeting out in Texas. Oh, can you make some social for us? And we said no for that reason. We said, we could say yes to you, and it probably wouldn't be a good investment. It wouldn't be a good use of your money. And he said to us, thank you. I'm surprised that you said that, but I really appreciate that you respected to about doing it the right way. And so it's just about educating them.
Sure.
And oftentimes I think that a lot of people do say yes. They go, absolutely, I can do that for you. And we just know that those aren't going to be the best results.
No, because you go down a rabbit hole. You know, we're not going to jump in there and try to fix your website because as we go through this process, we might realize that whatever we're going to do right now is probably going to change anyway.
100%.
Once we learn more from what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know. So Rob, let's talk about the management of a marketing company from a guy that's been in the technology space. Okay. I mean, schlepping copiers and doing the IT is a little bit more sophisticated than schlepping the copiers, but marketing is a whole different ball game. So what do you bring to the marketing company from your experience, and what maybe do you need to gain more knowledge in?
I think a lot of it is the piece that you're bringing to it is the ability to help align the sales and the C-suite and everything from that perspective. So we've got some phenomenally talented people from a creative perspective and everything through there. And a lot of clients have the same thing. But what happens is they get stuck in their world and they know what this is and they don't relate it to the business. And then you get the executives that don't understand the clicks and what the creative piece is, and they just want to sell more stuff. So being able to kind of see both sides of it, I've always had, even back when we were first started off with Mike Borcher and everything, I was, even though to his dismay, I was quote unquote Impact's first marketing director. So I've always taken to that piece. I've always had the creativity and piece of there, but I think it's bringing that business acumen side to that really helps. From a learning perspective, I think it's a little changing some of the fast pace. You know, you get used to the IT side of things, especially in the copier space. It was just now. So some of it is about just learning a little bit more patience and having more of a strategic way of going through some of that.
Well, speaking of patience, so you sell an assessment.
Yep.
Walk me through that process on a timeline. And let's take that $50,000 assessment, if you will. So you're moving upstream, which is good. I mean, I don't think you're running around doing $2,000 assessments or
No.
what is the ideal customer profile for you guys?
I mean, you could speak to this probably more, but really anywhere from kind of 30 to 40 million
Okay.
In terms of revenue. And I think the thing that I like to talk about is the mindset, you know, that growth mindset, being able to have somebody that has a vision, but doesn't necessarily have the resources or the expertise to be able to do the work, but is able to see when there is a great team that can support them in that. And so that's kind of the mindset thing is the thing that I always focus on as well.
So let's go back to the tenure now. So you sell the assessment.
Yep.
How long does it take you before everything's kind of wrapped up? They're a customer and off and running.
So yeah, kind of anywhere from 7 to 9 weeks. And that can extend further beyond that if we do more research on the upfront. So that first phase of the assessment is what we call diagnosis. And that's really identifying where do we want to focus our efforts. I think oftentimes in marketing, people try and market their whole business all at the same time. And that's also not a good investment because you're just going to water down your messaging. And so what we want to do is we want to go through and really do the research to identify where is the best investment today? Where can we grow the most profitably? Focus our efforts there. That could also be different areas. It doesn't necessarily need to be profit depending on the business goals. And then we can go, okay, this is the focus because we've done that research. We understand market sizing and that segmentation. And then we can go into the next phase, which is strategy. And that's where we're going to say, okay, based on looking at your competition, how do we want to position ourselves? What are we going to say to them that's going to really resonate, but also going to make them feel, oh, wow, this is nothing like I've ever seen before. I know that they're going to be able to give me what I need. And then we go into that planning phase, which is all about creating that channel plan, which is, okay, where are these customers showing up? How do we make sure we're creating a full system? We're not just thinking about these siloed tactics and making sure that we're really pushing that consumer through the funnel, that sales funnel, and getting them to convert. So that's that planning phase. And so, yeah, it's anywhere from 7 to 9 weeks. And again, depending on that upfront process, it could be longer than that.
Is there a particular vertical that you specialize in, or does it really matter?
It doesn't really matter. We're all over the place. Just Impact as a whole, we do a lot in the manufacturing space, so that tends to be one of the things that we're doing. But we've got clients from nonprofits to tech companies to professional services to manufacturer. We do everything on that end of it. You know, when we're looking at it, and when you talk about going upstream, you know, we're in some of those companies that are 30, 40, 50 million. We've got several clients right now that we're working with that are over $1 billion. So there really isn't a end to where we can go. The talent on the team, they've worked on large global brands, things that everyone's seen and heard and been a part of some of those campaigns. So the skill set's there, just finding the right mindset of the right clients of what they're trying to do.
Well, I mean, it starts out with that fee-based assessment. You can kind of align everybody. Have you ever done a fee-based assessment and like halfway through it realized, okay, this is probably going to be a waste of our time and the client's time? or does it
I would be
be?
lying if I said no. Yes, absolutely. And that's, again, because we previously didn't have the right alignment up front.
Right.
And so we go through the process and we commit to it because obviously we want to make sure that we're giving these clients what they've paid for. But at the same time, if we don't have that right alignment, if they don't have the right mindset, we've not had the right conversations up front to make sure that they can make this investment, then yes, sometimes it doesn't work out. But we do follow through because, we've committed to it.
Well, you got to follow through. That's for sure.
You always got to follow through.
So is there anything on the horizon that's going to change in the marketing?
AI is going to have a huge impact on it. It's one of the things where there's really not an area of the marketing that AI isn't touching right now. So as you're looking through it and the way people are searching, the way people are looking at it, Gartner has a stat that by 2027, Google search is going to be down by 58%.
Wow.
All going through the large, chat GPTs and everything through there. And you're starting to see a lot of that even sooner than that. So I think that's going to have a really big impact. And it's great that, pun intended again, Impact is really invested heavily in the AI and how we're applying that and bring that to clients. And I see a lot of synergies going forward with us being able to provide marketing as well as the AI services that go with it as well.
Oh, I think it's awesome. I mean, in fact, there's a lot of marketing companies that don't have, a cybersecurity business, a managed IT services business. And when you think about where technology is taking us, you're 100% correct. The marketing is going to change drastically. And speaking of that, I mean, when you're meeting with your clients, do you do like a quarterly overview, or how do you share with them? And do you ever get the phone call, okay, we signed up with you guys, we're paying you, $30,000 a month, but, we're not selling anymore?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has happened, but we try and stay ahead of that. And that was the past. So the shifts that we've made with Rob and I coming in, we've done quarterly business reviews for a while now, but making sure we're being a lot more agile with the way we are working with our clients. So we define a scope based on that assessment up front, but that's something that shifts. We review everything on a quarterly basis. We look at the report and we say, these are the things that need to shift. And then we also do that on an annual basis on that broader scale. So it's not just making those smaller tweaks to the campaign or to, maybe the creative little elements. It's about really looking at the business again and saying, okay, are we still in alignment with the C-suite and the vision for where they're going? And how can we evolve this partnership on that ongoing basis? So agility is something that we absolutely are now making sure is top priority. And I think all of that AI that we were talking about is a great way to be able to be even more agile.
Well, it's going to be interesting times. It's always great talking with my friends at Impact, and the marketing thing is so different from our industry peers. And it's great. You guys are having success in that. And I can't wait to come down to the Chicago office and see you all. Is there anything you all want to add before we end this? We'll start with you, Elke.
I think I'm just excited for the future. I think Rob and I have a really exciting vision. We just shared that with the team this week, and we're just so excited to see what marketing with all the technology and, the connectedness to all of the other services that Impact can really do for our clients. So exciting things to come.
Definitely exciting times.
Yeah, I echo that as well too, as for someone that's been doing this for quite a long time with the company and have different iterations of what we're doing. This is probably one of the most exciting times I've been here in the last 25 years, and seeing what we're doing and what we're building and what we're capable of doing it is really kind of inspiring.
Well, it's not bad for an old copier guy, is it?
No, not bad.
Remember shoving those machines in the back of a van?
I did color, so I was in marketing back then too.
Well, it's great talking to you, and everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.